Here in the Shane Show studio in Randolph, New Jersey, I'm Shane Connuck. Up here in the Garden State, high school outdoor fall sports seasons wrapped up about 2 weeks ago. Football, boys soccer, girls soccer, field hockey, and girls tennis athletes got to experience seasons that lasted about a month and a half, some of which even ended up culminating in a somewhat traditional championship game. Today we're going to bring in someone who was right in the middle of it all, had experienced a number of reschedulings, and even a cancellation that ended up unexpectedly ending the season early. His team was one of the best in the state of New Jersey this year. Welcome to the Shane Show. Randolph High School football head coach Will Nahan is here today. Nahan coached the Rams to a 6-1 record, a share of the Freedom Blue Division of the Super Football Conference title, and his team was ranked number 18 in NJ.com's final rankings. Coach, if I would have told you back in June or July or so that you would have played 7 games this season, would you have believed it?
It would have been tough for me to believe because there were some days where like news was coming out of big time, college football conferences canceling and certain high schools just within the state of New Jersey canceling athletics. So I was like, am I going to get the bad news one day? But you know what? Thank God it happened, and we were able to play 7 consecutive weeks.
And not just that, but also you guys had to go through such a time of just uncertainty and just such an eventful time, so many different things happening. And a big thing that I know you like to say is on good teams, coaches lead, but on great teams, players lead. How special was it to have senior captains like Aiden Koningsberg, Justin Townsend, Dylan Sheehan, and Justin Liebhauser really leading the team, especially as you guys just were doing nothing, having shutdowns and back to practicing in small groups and all that? How special was it to be able to rely on seniors like that?
So it was very special because in football, I don't think you ever have that much of a break away from the kids. Our season, if it ended in November, December, we just got the school bell. I'm sure you heard that. You would have like two weeks off at the end of the season, and then you got kids just itching to get back into the weight room and start it up, which is what we did. And then we were going, and then like the first or second week of March hit, and then that's when school shut down everything. And there was, 4.5 month period where you really don't have any team meetings in person, any team workouts in person organized by the coaches. And, never, has that happened, but everyone was on the same level playing field. So it was then whose program has that culture kind of instilled where you're going to have players step up and lead, and just having a huge senior class like that with some leaders that you mentioned to kind of set stuff up to get the team together. So then when we were able to get together in August, it wasn't like the first time ever that guys were working out or repping some things on offense and defense. They were getting together. They were meeting up at the fields. And that was really great to know that you had kids choosing to go out there, work together as a team, and bond with each other leading into August practice.
This is your 3rd year at the helm of the Rams, and in that first season, you had a team that went 9-2, and I have right here in the background of the show, you can see 2018 Freedom Blue Division champions outright that year, I believe.
Yep.
Undefeated in the conference, ended up having a record of 9-2. Got that back there. And a big thing, obviously, we all know it's the end. The season ended up culminating with a loss to Irvington in double overtime in the playoffs. This year, you guys scheduled an extra game against Irvington in one of the 2 games you were scheduled at the end of the season. And you guys flipped the outcome with a 43-32 victory. How special was it to, after exactly 104 Fridays ago, you saw the Irvington Blue Knights running around the field celebrating? So this year, obviously different circumstances, 2020, all that. But you guys got this whole season in. You won your 6th straight game and got to see the boys in blue out there celebrating. How special was that for you as a coach?
I mean, it was really special because, we didn't even schedule that game. Like the 2 postseason extra games, I think the conference and some of the, the president of the conference and a couple other division heads within it were setting up these matchups. And when I found out maybe a couple days in advance before leading up to that game week, like, hey, coach, you got Irvington in this first round of these like 2 postseason games. I go, you know what? It's awesome. It's just meant to be. And with this group of seniors, a lot of them were there, obviously as sophomores. Some of them played, guys like Jimmy Pepe and Justin Townsend were starters on that team. And, that nobody liked that feeling of how it ended, unfortunately. But then to have that opportunity to play again at home, to play versus an extremely talented Irvington team, like across the board, there were some unbelievable players that we're going to be watching on Saturdays play college football, and come from behind with a total team effort, offense, defense, and special teams, and 11-point deficit, come back and then win that. It was really special, awesome feeling. It was our last home game of the year. It was the last time the seniors playing together on that field, and just a really full circle, special moment. Having you back announcing that game, because that was the last game you announced for football for us. And, it's just crazy how some things work out that way. And a lot of bright spots in 2020 with a lot of the unfortunate things that did take place.
100%, and that's definitely something I thought a lot about that win as well. And then after that, you guys made up the conference game against Mount Olive, and obviously, Mount Olive came away with that 21-7 victory, that pushed Randolph along with Mount Olive and West Morris Central into a three-way tie for the conference championship. And I was on down the field right after the end of that game, and I remember I heard you telling the guys that these next 5 days of football, in preparation of a Randolph-Sparta showdown on that Wednesday night, be the five most important days of their football career, of their sports careers. Everything was just building up. Your big message that was kind of, look, guys, you got one more game. We're going to, that's our Super Bowl, essentially. And then once that Randolph-Sparta game ended up being canceled, how did you relay that message to the team?
So once I found out that unfortunate news, because, on Saturdays and Sundays, I tried to avoid my cell phone because it seemed like during this season I was only getting bad news. Hey, so-and-so's program had to shut down, or hey, you guys might have this. There's a possibility of that. I really, I just wanted to stay away. And unfortunately, I got that call Saturday afternoon. I didn't message the guys, though, because the next plan was, let's go find another opponent. So I can't tell you the amount of schools we reached out to. I have a pretty big connection with, other teams all over any conference. A guy I played with in college, coaches here or there, or a guy I played against, or just meeting guys at different clinics. I was like, I'll go up and down the state. Let me see who can get a game. So we actually had a couple in place. And then, unfortunately, not able to get it done because maybe it was, this school had a shutdown, or the opponent they were playing had to shut down. So now it forced them to shut down. And it was just like, unfortunately, it was kind of like bad news after bad news. And then talking with the administration, there were a couple other, extreme precautionary measures that had to take place. So we couldn't get another game leading up into it. So I had to send that message. And the worst part about it is I had to send it to Huddle, because you don't have those team meetings on Sundays. I didn't want anyone finding out third party from, say, a website or Twitter or something like that. So once I knew that we couldn't get another opponent, and it was, we weren't going to have that final game, I wanted to make sure they heard it from me and direct. So I sent a team message out, and then I made sure to meet with my guys in person that Monday when we were in school, because some of these things, these big moments in life, a high school football career and everything, you want to be able to have those conversations, see your team, see your kids in person, and make sure that, you leave with that positive message.
And then after that was all over, now you guys are heading into an extremely uncertain winter, uncertain spring, even a special season in between the winter and the spring. Now that you're back to teaching with no students in person for the time being, amid, spikes in cases and all that, how much different is your life right now?
It's kind of bizarre, to be honest. I mean, I got into this to be around people physically, to, have these interactions with the kids, be a positive role model for all my students. Any athlete, any student, anyone in, my PE class, my health class. And I'm sitting in a health classroom right now with 30 empty desks. Just got done a virtual class. It's just, it's not the same feeling. It's good to see those kids virtually, but I just love it when the building's full. You're walking through the hallways, you see all these people. Right now, we'd be like in that early phase of winter sports. There'd be a basketball game going on, ice hockey games going on, and just to not have that, it It's not what anyone signed up for. It's not the most ideal, but I understand the entire situation, and I look at it, hopefully first or second week of January, we're back in. There's the NJSIA has plans for these winter sports to take place in certain capacities. So I really hope we can get to that, because I know how meaningful it was to have fall sports for all these teams. So I just really hope we get back to that. Just us not being in school right now in the beginning of our off-season phase with the weight room. Again, it goes back to that. I'll provide resources for the kids, but it's who's going to take advantage of those opportunities to start training, to start getting ready. But the big thing is we just, we'd love to be back in person and seeing everybody.
And how about you personally? A lot of people talk about high school football, and people develop a really strong affinity to the high school that they played for, that they went to. And I know that you were a Lawrence Cardinal years ago, and now here you are. You've been at Randolph High School as the head coach for the last 3 years. You've been here beyond that as well, as a coach with the team, as a teacher, and all that. What kind of affinity have you been able to develop to Randolph High School, even the township of Randolph, over the last few years?
It's just full of rich history and tradition. And to think that there's only been like a handful of head coaches here at this program, it's something I don't take for granted. And it's amazing. I walk in here every day. I come through that main entrance, and one of the first things I see, because the main entrance is right by the gym and trophy cases and a lot of the history of this program, it's really special to me. And it's crazy how things happen. When I was in high school, I had absolutely no clue where Randolph was or anything really about Morris County. I'm a Mercer County kid, but it's great how things work out, and I absolutely love it here. And I love what we're building. We're honoring the past and the tradition and that history, but we're paving some new ground with our program, and it's really awesome to connect with some of those former teams. We, going into our week 6 game this year versus West Morris, before that game, we talked about the kids. There were a lot of anniversaries this upcoming season. It was 30 years since that Miracle Montclair game. And I set up 3 years ago this game versus Montclair, which unfortunately didn't take place this season. And then it was also the 10-year anniversary of the last championship team from Randolph, which happened to be against Montclair again. So there was a lot of things that I'm trying to, build up and keep those some of that history alive and traditions. But we were able to show the kids a video of, the program, that 30 years and how it led into that big game that night, playing against a big rival in-conference opponent. And it was just really cool. So, we talk about a lot of the, great winning tradition that's associated with Randolph. And it's just how we're protecting that and the standard we've built here in those last couple of years.
That 2019 class that I was obviously a part of was the first class that you really saw as, football players develop from freshmen to seniors. This next class, next year's seniors, the class of 2022, is going to be the first class that you see develop in your time as the head coach. Is that kind of, crazy to you that you're already there?
Yeah, it definitely makes me feel a little older now. So, looking back, I'll see like the pictures of, our 2018 season and just be like, who's that guy? Or we had those uniforms, or like, I can't believe that was already 3 seasons ago now. It's crazy to see that. But then, to see that this upcoming senior class, they were freshmen when I first was named head coach. And to see them develop and the team that, how they're going to continue to develop because they have their senior season coming up, that's so rewarding. Like, that's what I love to see. People always talk about, hey, this is what this group did in Bulldogs, whether it was positive or negative, or this is how this freshman team was. A lot of that stuff doesn't matter to me, whether it was bad or good, because I want to see how they develop and move forward. I've seen freshman teams that don't do that well, but they come together as sophomores, juniors, lead into a great, successful senior year. And that's through their commitment to the program and their hard work and effort. And, that's what I'm excited to see with this upcoming senior class. I saw a lot of guys develop this season and play major roles for us as juniors. So it's really cool looking forward to seeing their 4th year, only having me as, in charge of the program, and see how they're going to leave this place better. It's a special part.
You mentioned that you were just, you barely really knew anything about Morris County itself growing up and all that. Now that you're here and you're a head coach, have there been any other coaches? Like, I know Coach Shpega of Chatham is from Lawrence, that area as well, went to a different high school though. But Other than him, there have been any coaches who have reached out to you and helped you in your kind of, I guess, maybe transition to this area?
Oh, absolutely. And what I've learned from just our coaches association meetings or being up in this area, just, high school football in New Jersey, especially, you can't be afraid to reach out to, whether it's an opponent or a rival, and use those guys as resources. I used to think, like, when I was a player, oh, this coach hates that team and they don't see each other. And you know what? I'm sure there are some of those rivalries, but within our division, just to start, Coach LaRusso over at Roxbury is one of the first guys. He's the president of our Morris County Football Association. He's always a guy I can reach out to, whether it's guidance about something within a program or certain things in the offseason, just, roles that you take on as being a head coach. He's been excellent. Every other coach within our division, I have so much respect for these guys because, like I said, I didn't know much about Morris County, but what I do know now is the level of coaching, especially the teams within our conference. When West Morris, Mount Olive, Morris Knolls, Morristown, they're all, extremely great programs. And you see these guys that have been there for many years at their program or, with their certain school or just coaching high school football in general. It's because they prepare their teams really well, and they're very good coaches. They come ready to play no matter what. Just seeing this past season, you have 3 teams in our division that went 6-1, and that means you're going out of conference and beating some of these opponents all over the state in Essex County, Bergen County, other parts of Morris County. It's really impressive. And I think a lot of that goes to the coaching, and then obviously it goes down to the talent of the players. So, I'm able to develop these relationships. I know, like I said, Coach Russo is a guy I can call on, and there's been many others along the way. My former high school coach, my college coach, just coaches all over. It's a nice network that you build.
I know that earlier I said that you like to say that on good teams, coaches lead. On great teams, players lead. I know there are a lot of other kind of sayings that you have that are really unique as a coach, like get your mind right. Don't blame, complain, defend, all that. Where did those slogans all kind of come from, and how is it that you really were able to, come up with those, especially because you've been coaching just for, you're a relatively young coach in this field now.
So I was extremely fortunate to be a part of a really successful high school program where it was our standard every year to be in the state playoffs and compete for a state championship. And I saw the level of preparation, organization that my high school coach laid out for us. Like, he kind of gave us the opportunities to be successful, and then we had to match that. And if, we did that, we were going to get what our works deserve. Carry that into college with, tremendous head coach over at Kane University playing for Dan Garrett, who's still there. Again, he had a certain culture, the certain behaviors that are acceptable within an organization, a program, a team, and what's allowed. You follow those. It's a blueprint for success in life, not just anything. And football has been so tremendous for me. It's a tool to be successful in life if, you're part of a great culture, part of a great program that has standards and expectations. So I knew that the day when I became a head coach, this is how I was going to do things. I'm going to put little things in place, as far as it's those little details that add up. So we have an expectation. We're going to be on time. I don't want to call you out, but I was on time for our meeting today at 12:30. You were the one that was late. I try to be early everywhere. When it's attendance or practice or anything with our guys, always early. Early is on time. And that's going to set you up for success later in life. When I talk about getting a mind right, a lot of kids, they think physically they can't do something, but actually, they can go beyond their physical capacity. It's the mind they got to convince. So I'm telling these guys, physically, you can make it through these practices, these workouts. It's up here that you got to convince. When I talk about no BCD, it's a way of life. I don't want to walk around blaming or complaining or defending poor actions. So I tell my guys, if you see me complaining about things, then, sure, all of you guys go complain. But when I get faced with certain adversity, like this season, hey, we're not going to have an indoor locker room. We're not going to have meetings inside to install things. We're not going to hit the field until mid-September with pads or anything. I don't complain about it. So I don't expect to see any of my guys complain about it. We have a certain culture, standards, and behaviors that we do allow. And if guys make the mistake or are not following those, it's my job as a coach to continue to coach them up. But I want to see these guys, take those standards I set and just see them become successful with it. And getting back to your question, where did I get some of those? It's been from everywhere. Certain coaches I've seen how they carry or run their practices, their programs. certain books I've read, certain things I've seen online, practices I've gotten to go see in the off season. Because I'm always trying to learn. The second I think I know it all, then I'm done. There's no room for me to grow anymore. So it's just been a culmination of all these different people I've been around and fortunate to work with as a coach and carry out with this program.
Coach, always great to speak with you and always great to hear you, really explain, certain things about, the season itself, about your coaching career and about just, it's really interesting to hear, ways that you kind of do really, what all that really means. You say it a lot. You've got it hanging up in the weight room at Randolph High School, the GYMR, get your mind right. You got all those things kind of hang up. You say them a lot, but it is really always great to hear exactly, what they mean and all that. And I do really appreciate you taking the time to come on to the show today in the middle of this, I guess school day where you just kind of, sit there, no one's there. It's got to be just incredibly just bizarre, like you said earlier, and talk about it.
Yeah, no, Shane, I'm just proud of you because, and I said this to my guys the other week, and I had my team managers there. I have people part of the program that aren't football players, but they play a major role in it. So, when I said I was going to take over this program, I need to get people involved and not just in football roles. And I was fortunate and I guess I'm talking to everybody out there. I was fortunate to have Shane part of our program, and he announced our games. He did the commentary for it. He did post-game interviews. He really, I would say, helped put us out there on the map. And the exposure and the recognition you provided our guys, I can't thank you enough for that. And then for you to come back this fall with the situation going on, just for you to be that guy that was calling these Friday night games for Randolph, it was really special. I said to you before you left for Maryland, I can't wait to see you on Big Ten Network. And then boom, freshman year, you're out there calling games and everything on Big Ten Network. That's awesome. So I'm just so proud of you, everything you've put together, and I can't wait to continue to watch your success as you move up the ranks.
Coach, I really appreciate that, and I can't wait to see, how you continue to do at Randolph. You got a winning culture in here at Randolph. Your first 3 years, each of those seasons, you finished over 500, well over 500. In the 2 times you actually had a playoffs, you made it to the second round of the playoffs. So really excited to see what you continue to build up in Randolph.
Thank you, Shane. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into this edition of The Shane Show. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side.